Hello, YouTube. It is Sunday night, Super Bowl Sunday, in fact. I don't give a fuck. Don't like football at all. I don't know about you, but I find it to be an extremely boring game. A couple of times I've tried to watch it, it just seems like it's a lot of start and stop. I don't know how people think it's exciting or violent or anything like that. I find it extremely slow, extremely boring. I did not watch it. At this moment, it is still going on, and actually, I have some folks visiting right now, and they're watching it in the basement. I'm copping out. No, thank you. Not doing it. I did catch a couple of the trailers that were previewed in the Super Bowl so far, and kind of unimpressed, to be honest. There's that Avengers Infinity War trailer, and it was particularly short, showed some extended footage of the trailer that we've already seen. Beyond that, not a whole lot. I already knew about the surprise like Dundee trailer that really wasn't a trailer, because I have a coworker actually who's from Australia, and one of his friends was actually like in the background of one of the scenes, so they kind of let that slip. So the surprise was ruined for me, unfortunately. But beyond that, do not care. I'm sure that in the morning somebody will probably want to talk to me at the office about the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be drawing blanks. I know a lot. Actually, I should say I know a little about a lot of things, but you are always going to get blank stares if you ask me about cars, if you ask me about football, if you ask me about hockey. I got nothing. So that's where it stands. Not watching the Super Bowl. So enjoy, guys. On a lighter note, we will be playing some Phantasy Star Online tonight. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get on Saturday, which would have been really cool, because the Dreamcast Junkyard has actually started a Phantasy Star Online group in sort of like that parallels the Dreamcast Live group. But what they're doing is they're starting at level 1, and each week they're going up in increments of about 5 levels. So the goal is that they started this week at level 1, by next week they'll be at level 5, and so on. So that way it just keeps the same players at a consistent level with consistent weapons and items and stuff like that. So it could be kind of cool. Now, I did miss yesterday's game because I've just been pretty busy lately. The hope is next week that we can jump in probably at level 5. So I will be starting a new character if I can jump in next week. Ross O'Reilly of the Dreamcast Junkyard is the one that's facilitating that event. So if you go to the Dreamcast Junkyard Facebook page, or if you go to the Dreamcast Junkyard official page, you should be able to find some links there. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. I've got a little stack of things that I'd like to show off at some point. The hope is I won't get cut off like I did in the last stream, because, you know, things happen, I suppose. But the one thing I want to show you guys before we kick everything off is a bit of an update on a previous find in the wild. Now, some of you know I do like to collect vintage synthesizers and things like that, and occasionally I find like really odd ones. And this is definitely an oddity of, that I found. Now, I assume that they put it in the toy section because it does look kind of toyish, but it's this right here. It's a Casio saxophone. And when I saw it immediately, you know, after I saw the Casio label, I was kind of curious. But this is what really caught my eye right here. And it's this little port. You can see it. And that is full MIDI out. So you're actually able to control external synthesizers through this device. Now, I turned it on. Unfortunately, it did not work. It had this loud squealing sound that I could not turn off. Didn't matter what I did. So immediately my head was that it's probably some blown capacitors, because this thing is actually controlled by your breath. So I figured probably at some point some moisture got in, damaged some capacitors. So I opened it up, did a little bit of cleaning, and sure enough, I found a few capacitors that looked as though they'd leaked. Flipped them out, replaced them with the equivalent capacitors, and it works. Now, the sound that comes out of this thing isn't that fantastic, but the control over other devices is kind of cool. So, you know, just for fun, let's just turn it on. Got batteries in it already, and it follows the same saxophone rules as everything else. Let's see if you guys can hear it. So anyways, kind of a neat little find. I'm happy with it. Little bit of a bizarre sort of toy instrument. I'm going to plug it into probably one of my Volcas, probably the Volca keys, and see how it controls it up through that. But yeah, looking online, they kind of trend at a fairly high price, so I think I paid $4.99 for it. So win for me. Okay, well, without any further ado, let's fire up our Dreamcast and let's see who's playing tonight. Okay, what's going on in the chat? Well, it looks like we have a couple of Super Bowl watchers here. I apologize if I offended. And I'm very happy that I was able to help you get your Dreamcast online. That's great. You know, like I've said a couple of times, that tutorial rather is a bit old nowadays, but when I put it together, it was just during a time that there was really no clear information on how to get your Dreamcast online. People like PC Wizard rather have created very superior tutorials at this point because some of the technology has changed slightly. So even though my method definitely works, it's a little bit more difficult than the method presented by PC Wizard. So if you're new to the Dreamcast online scene and you are interested in getting on through DreamPi, I suggest watching his tutorial. The link is in the description of my tutorial. The only real difference is the line voltage inducer and the method that he uses and the product that he sells as well, which I fully endorse. I actually use it myself. I got rid of the line voltage inducer that I created and it worked well for years, and I bought his because I was like, well, for the price, I think it was $29 shipped. Really couldn't be beat, to be quite honest. I didn't reverse engineer it, but in conversation with him, I'm pretty confident I know how he did it. So yeah, I would suggest using that if you are new and are interested in getting online. Just check out PC Wizard's tutorial, check out Dreamcast Live, maybe go to the shop and pick one up there. So, okay. Select a ship. All right, let's see who's online tonight. Oh, we got some people in Altamira. Let's go check that out. Yes, so going back to the chat, the Solo movie teaser, that was interesting. Now Solo is going to be the standalone film, one of the first, I think, standalone film from the Star Wars universe, and it's going to focus on Han Solo. And from what I've heard from the production of that film, it's a little bit of trouble. Apparently the lead actor cannot act, and that's a big problem if you're making a film. So they've had to hire an acting coaches and all this kind of fun stuff, and yeah, it could go either way. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it won't be bad by any means, but at the same time, I'm not expecting it to be a wonderful, wonderful film. Hey, it's Kuroheim. Cool. Well, let's go say hi to them. Hey. Were you on last night? I heard it was pretty busy. Okay, and while we're talking to Kuroheim here, let's crack open one of these steam whistles because it is Sunday night. Fortunately, I don't really have to work tomorrow. Here we go. So, cheers. Join with me, folks. All right, let's double check with Kuroheim to see if they're nice. Almost 195. How much further do you have? Kuroheim's really been working at these last 6 levels to get to level 200. Apparently, it's quite the grind. Involves a lot of XP. But they play fairly regularly, so... Oh, wow. You're very close. 1,000? So if it's only 850 XP, we can do that in like 3 monster kills. But I'm pretty confident that Kuroheim means 850,000. Oh, wow. Wow, that's like 3 monsters. They weren't kidding. Okay. Well, let's see if we can maybe... We won't do the forest, but maybe we'll do the ruins or something like that. Now, God Battle. That was the... Let's see what we've got for our items. Okay, cool. Cool. Did you want to jump in the mines or something? Maybe see if someone else jumps in. Okay, and in the meantime, let's see what we got here, because I think some of my equipment, God Body, God Battle, God Power. Okay, so we do got God Battle and God Body. I wonder if we got any more. For some reason, I think we do. Items. We have more God Body, God Ability. Waiting on my guildmates. Oh, okay, fair enough. So it looks like they're gonna be busy with somebody else. Okay, we've got all these badges too. Jeez, okay. We've got that part that we've got to figure out what to do with. Okay, so maybe we want to replace the God ability. Okay, boost evasion, attack power, mind, energy, defense, and accuracy by 20 when equipped. Let's take that out. And maybe we can replace that with one of the God bodies. Item, equip, because really, yeah, that's probably a better fit right now. Okay, cool. So let's drop this off. Deposit, item. Let's drop this off for now. God body. Because quite frankly, our defense is not spectacular to begin with. And I'm not really too excited about having lower accuracy. Who else is jumping on tonight? So much junk in your bank. Yeah, this is very true. Okay, I know. I give a lot away to new players. That's why I have a bunch of grinders and antiquated equipment. But I don't really have a lot of new cool stuff to fill it up with. We really should figure out how to use those badges though at some point too. So that will be a goal. It looks like they're not going to take this I disproved giving away rare guns. Sorry? Okay, let's go back to the chat. What did they say? Chat log. I disproved giving away rare guns I gave you. Okay, not quite sure what Crowheim meant by that, but let's figure that out. High level weapons don't give to low level players. Okay, fair enough. Was there a weapon in particular that you may have given me that I should not have accepted? I'm very curious where this conversation is going. So, Jerry's handgun. So does Kuroheim want them back? You need them back? Maybe it was because I couldn't use them at the time? I'm not 100% sure. Now, we did do a pretty good trade with Kuroheim at one point for the weapon that we currently use, so I don't think it's all bad that we play together. I don't like strangers reaping off me. Okay, well. Okay. Sounds good. If you have another, if you give to another player. Okay, where are we going with this conversation? I only want you to use it. Did I give something away recently? Generally I only give away kind of like my yellow rare weapons. I typically don't give away anything that's too precious. No, one of my friends did. Okay. Ah, gotcha. Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. I generally hold on to the very rare stuff, but typically give away the yellow / gold stuff that is fairly low lev. Oh, looks like Kuroheim grabbed that level and isn't particularly useful. I do have a low level Heaven Punisher, but I mostly just hold on to it for the special attack. I can't remember who gave it to me. I don't think we got it from Kuroheim, but we definitely got it from another player at one point. It's a yellow Heaven Punisher. Oh, it is Kuroheim that gave it to us. Okay. Who else is strong enough to grind? Kinda assumed. I'm very out of the loop lately on what's happening in Pioneer. I think you're the only player that actually completes the challenge mode stuff. Oh, well, okay. Have you heard about the new group starting? So let's see if Kuroheim is familiar with this new group starting up with the Dreamcast Junkyard. I know that they're having trouble connecting recently too, so... Yeah, there is a new group from the Dreamcast Junkyard starting on Saturdays from level 1 and grinding from there. No, I don't bother with new players. Okay. Alright, well, good enough. Okay. Just wondering if you might be interested in a fresh character. Because I've been talking for a while about wanting to start a fresh character, but this might be the incentive I need to actually do it. Yeah, that's going to be a grind. Do I have any tips for someone who wants to get into multiplayer of this game? Not really, other than probably the best thing you can do for yourself is just sort of develop relationships like I've done with Kuroheim, and, you know, sort of barter and trade things if you have it, or if you don't have anything to barter, at least play with a good player like Kuroheim that is willing to give you things to advance your character, because they've given us rings and weapons and armors, all this crazy stuff that we probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Like, they're a great player to play with. But if you can find somebody like that that's playing on the same level as you and might be playing as consistently as you are, that's probably the best advice I can give you. It's definitely a game that relies on you interacting with the community. I have seen some channels where people have posted videos of them playing offline, and some of them enjoy playing offline, but this game is definitely not an offline game. It's an online multiplayer game. You only really see the advantages of the game when you play in multiplayer, and that's just like the different weapons you can find, the different weapons you can get from other people, armor, items, all that kind of stuff. Plus, it's just more fun. It's a pretty if you play this game offline, it's not the most exciting game, but when you play online with other players, it can get quite interesting. So yeah, okay, well, all right. Are you planning on hanging out here for a bit? Or did you want to hit and goal for a while? Okay, sounds good. I'll tag along. Alright, sweet. So we're going to go to the mines in a minute. The first thing we'll want to do is let's go to the shop and let's see if we need to stock up on any supplies. So yes, we definitely need dyes and tries, and nothing really here that we need. The only thing I was going to pick up was maybe Escape Doll if they had it, but it appears as though they don't, so no big deal. Oh, look at that, there's hearts. It must be because it's almost Valentine's Day. I'm assuming that Kuroheim left that android rifle for me, so I'm gonna just grab it, and if they want it back, they can have it back, but otherwise we'll give it a try when we get onto Rangol. Alright, so they're going to the mine, so let's tag along. If you want to start, if you're just getting online, as I mentioned earlier, this is probably the best time to start a fresh character because the Dreamcast Junkyard is going to be doing their weekly games. And it'll just be a good opportunity to play with people that are also playing on the same level as you. Which is great, because the hardest thing about playing this game is that sometimes you find that if you're playing with stronger players, the balance can be really frustrating, and it almost makes the game feel unplayable at times, unfortunately, because the other players will be getting so far ahead and the other players will be, oh, look at that, they got a level up. Congrats. They did say they only needed another 850 XP, so that's cool. So 5 more to go. Good job, Kuroheim. Alright, boom, boom, boom. Now we're going to be trying the trick that I read in the book, and actually the trick that people have been telling me for ages, and I just didn't understand because nobody really gave me enough information on why to do it the way that they were suggesting. And that is using 2 low-level attacks followed by a heavy attack. And the reason for that is that your attack accuracy increases by 30% if you hit on the first attack. So because your accuracy at a low level attack is 90%, if you go low level and you connect, when you end up firing your heavy attack, you're more likely to connect with it. So it's just a way of kind of, I don't know, kind of ensuring that you will get a heavy hit at some point when you're doing your attack combo. You can hedge your bets and hope that you connect with a heavy attack the first time, which will mean that you get a heavy attack followed by a 30% chance of getting a better heavy attack followed by another heavy attack, which is possible, but more likely if you just initially hit semi-low and then just kind of go from there. Alright, so where is Kuroheim? We are, what do we have? I think we've got like a paralysis something on us. I wonder if we have any anti-paralysis. Item, I don't think we do. No, of course we don't. Alright, whatever. Let's just go. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, let's follow Kuroheim. Now there is a little bit of an update regarding the Akira box. And that is that now there are many reports from people that their boxes are starting to fail, which is really unfortunate. I do have the Akira. I currently don't use it that much because it is not compatible with the Elgato capture card. And that's because of the resolution. The Elgato wants to capture 480p at the lowest. And for whatever reason, the Dreamcast doesn't really output at true 480p. It's just slightly off. So the Elgato does not recognize the aspect ratio and therefore won't record directly, which is kind of unfortunate. Because it would be nice to get a pure digital sound and record that, and also it's just a lot cleaner of a setup. But I do use it in my basement Dreamcast setup currently. Recently, Tom from the Dreamcast Junkyard was trying to do some work with an article, and he was trying to screen cap, and his box failed. And he had a preview box, which, it was free, so he didn't really have to complain that much, which is why he felt reluctant about complaining, I should say. The guy doesn't really complain. But anyways, he brought it up and needed some help, so the community came out and gave him a hand with getting some screenshots with the equipment they had. But then more people started saying that their boxes had failed, and that was everything from the Toro to the Hanzo to the Akira, which is kind of concerning considering how expensive those boxes are and how many prominent YouTubers that primarily use the Dreamcast as their console of choice to promote their channel. Oh shoot, let's go. We got the paralysis on us again. It's unfortunate because a lot of them really highly touted the Akira box, and I think I was one of the first people to really give it a negative review. Now, I did have sort of a bit of hindsight on it afterwards, and even though I don't particularly use it, it is a convenient box to use for just a regular HD television, which is fine. But the fact that it's starting to break down already is really unfortunate because it isn't a cheap box by any means, and also the people that make it, the Harris brothers, I believe it's... Oh, cool, we escaped all. I believe that's how you pronounce their last name. One of the things most people that use their products constantly talk about is the quality. So one would think that it wouldn't break down so easily, but apparently it's fairly common, particularly in the cable. So if you don't have a Beharris BB... What is it, BBS Brothers? I can't remember what their logo is exactly. If you don't have one of their products, you don't know this, but what it is they sell these boxes, and the boxes actually don't come with a cable installed. They come with 4-point, it's like some sort of like dip connection, and you're supposed to connect their custom Dreamcast cable to it. Now I guess that's because if it ever needs to be replaced, you can easily swap it out. But from what I understand, that cable is also quite faulty, and because of that, it seems to be giving people all sorts of issues because it's not exactly easy to repair either. You pretty much have to get a new one, and really they're the only people that make it, so it's kind of a captive audience in terms of who you can contact if your product ever fails. So I don't know what to think about that. I think that it could be an isolated incident over a few people that use the Akira box, but the other part of me thinks that there's also a fairly large silent majority out there that isn't saying anything about it. So who knows, maybe we'll find out again if more people start disclosing that their product has failed, but at the moment it appears as though if you don't have one already, you might want to hold off a bit until more people start sort of disclosing how easy it is to fix and what exactly the issue is. Okay, where did Kiroheim go? Oh, there's Kiroheim, cool. Bang! Okay, sweet. We've got to actually keep our distance with these guys because if you haven't noticed already, we seem to be getting paralyzed quite frequently. I think that's because they must have a special attack that does that. Okay, what is going on in the chat? Yeah, man, it'd be great if you can get yourself online. Talking to Frosty Skills over there in the chat. If you get lucky, you never know. Like the actual console itself, it's still like you can still get it fairly cheap on eBay. There are a couple of people that try fishing by selling it for, you know, over $100, but if you find an open auction, you can typically get a fairly decent lot for the Dreamcast for, you know, 50, 60 bucks, which isn't too bad. But then, of course, it's the upgrades that end up setting you back the most. I think the most expensive piece that I had to put into this whole setup was probably the Atlona HD 500. The VGA box I got was actually with a lot that I purchased well after I had my first Dreamcast, but I couldn't pass it up because I saw a couple of items in it that intrigued me. Oh cool, Silas is joining. And that lot I think I picked up for about $80 shipped. And it had a Hayes VGA box, which is a fantastic VGA box if you don't already have one and you're looking for one. I think they're fairly rare nowadays. I typically don't see them out that often, like in an open auction, but I did see it in that box lot, so I ended up picking that up. It also had a couple of games I didn't own, and it came with like a couple extra controllers that I was interested in as well. In particular, a fishing controller, and it had a bizarre cable which I didn't quite understand what it was at first. Unfortunately, I don't have it up here, but it was actually a cable used for connecting your Dreamcast to your computer over serial, and you can transfer files and things like that. So pretty neat little lot. So yeah, there is, yeah, let's just say hello. So, you know, there is potential to get a fairly cheap Dreamcast out there in open auction. And in fact, games too. Like if you find, there's a lot of games that are posted by now for quite a bit of money. But if you can find an open auction for some of these games, like for instance, if you wanted to buy Cannon Spike today, you're probably looking at spending, and to buy it now, probably about 250 Canadian dollars, which is like about 200 American dollars. But if you wanted to wait for open auction, you can generally get it for about 130. So still expensive, but not nearly as expensive as just buying it open auction, or just buying it as a buy it now. And I think that's because there are a lot of speculators like myself that just realize that people are fishing, and that's why they're commanding that price, and know that they'll be able to find an open auction at some point and hopefully get it for a decent price. And so what I do is I set like an RSS feed, and just kind of anytime I get something I'm interested in on eBay, I get a notification, and then I just watch it for a bit. And you know, the trick with sniping on eBay is that, you know, don't get too concerned with the day something comes up on auction. Just keep an eye on it, set your watch by it, and it's that last 15 seconds. If you can snipe it, you know, unfortunately there are different kind of programs out there that'll do the sniping for you. But you know, if you're good enough, you can generally get something for fairly cheap if you're quick on the draw and you're there at the right time. And that's generally what I try to do when I get things. I try not to buy things just as a buy it now. I think when I first got my Dreamcast, I was pretty excited about playing certain games before I had the USB GD-ROM, and I wasn't interested in playing games that were burned because I was already aware that those games were incomplete to some degree. So I think I bought some games for a fairly high price back then, but now by today's standards it wasn't too bad. Like I think I paid $60 for a copy of Skies of Arcadia, which I did put about 8 hours into before I ended up giving up on it and getting into some other games. And it wasn't because it wasn't a good game, and it wasn't because I got stuck or anything like that. It was actually just a matter of just, I don't know, I just kind of fell out of phase with it, and then when I turned it back on, I kind of forgot where I was. And you know how it goes in RPGs, you know, if you haven't played an RPG in a while and then you fire it up, it's really easy to just forget where you are. I had that same problem happen recently with I think I told you on my PSP I put a copy of custom firmware on it, and I started playing Final Fantasy VII, and I told myself this is going to be the day. This is going to be the time where I beat Final Fantasy VII, because I've never beaten it before, and I'm exactly where I was probably the last time I gave up on it as well. Okay, 1 second. I got to give a quick pause here because I just got to take care of something. I'll be right back. It's not going to be a long delay, so give me. Alright, sorry about that, guys. It was actually my stupid cat crying at the wall. He just wanted to go outside, so I just put him out. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, Final Fantasy VII. I just put it down for a little while, probably about 2-3 weeks. I picked it up again, and I was like, I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing in this stupid fucking game. It's probably easy enough to just figure out, but by then I was on to something new. So then I started playing what the hell is that game called? Sega CD, Night Trap. And that's not a very fun game, I have to admit. But I just wanted to experience it, and yeah, I played that for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and kind of gave up on that as well. I don't know, guys. I really got to start committing myself to some of these games just to knock them off my bucket list. You know, it's the last thing. I've always been sort of like a completist, but a very poor completist when it comes to certain games. Like, I really want to just experience it to its fullest and uncover every secret, but that means a lot of grinding, and I just get bored and I turn things off. So yeah, that's not an uncommon phenomenon. I think I was watching John Hancock's last video, and he sort of mentioned the same thing about how he's given himself permission to put games down when he gets stuck, or they get too hard, or he just loses interest in it. And you know, that's happened to me quite a bit recently. I can think of quite a few games where I've just ended up putting it down for whatever reason. A Link to the A Link Between Worlds. That was probably the most recent example that I can think of. I was doing quite well in that game. I was having quite a bit of fun, and then I got stuck in a few different puzzles, and I was kind of getting a bit frustrated, and I didn't really want to rely on tutorials, so I just put it down, and I just kind of said, you know, I've had enough of it. But you know, it was a fun game, and I'm sure once I get past some of the parts where I'm stuck, I'd probably enjoy it quite a bit, but not enough time in the day, I tell you. Speaking of PSP, the one thing I am really interested in doing is playing some PSP exclusives. So if anybody out there knows of any games that I should probably pick up and put on to my PSP, I'd really like that info, because from what I understand, it has some pretty fantastic RPGs, but so far I'm kind of doing what I generally do when it comes to RPGs, and just playing ports of games that I've already liked. So things like, you know, Final Fantasy IV is a great port for the PSP, but you know, I've played Final Fantasy IV to death, so I don't need to pick it up again. Although I probably will, just to see how that plays. I think there's actually a copy of Final Fantasy I for the PSP as well, but so much for giving my heart. Aww. Happy early Valentine's. Poor Kuro. I'm assuming that Kuro did a special quest with somebody and involved a heart. Alright, so moving right along. What's going on in the chat, guys? Yeah, the setup that you're describing seems awfully familiar to the setup that I have, actually. When you think about it, it does sound kind of expensive for an older video game system, putting in that much money. But the thing with Dreamcast recently is the games have gotten quite expensive. And I find it similar to when I had the TurboGrafx 16 that I was once thinking about getting into, and I realized that all of the games that I'm interested in playing, the entry point to it, cool, we donated. The entry level for all the games that I wanted, they were just way too expensive, and I was like, well, maybe I'll get myself a flash card. And then I thought, you know, I can emulate this pretty well on my Raspberry Pi, so I don't really even know if I need to do that. And it's quite a big system too, which also meant that it would just be another spot on my entertainment unit that I'd have to sort of make space for. So ultimately I sold it, got a bit of money back for it, which is kind of nice. And I don't really regret much. But with the Dreamcast, I think, you know, if you really want to get into Dreamcast, that is probably the best way to do it. Just get yourself, you don't necessarily need the Dream PSU, although it is a good investment just to sort of future-proof your console. But definitely get either a USB GD-ROM or get yourself a GD-EMU. Those are both fantastic USB stick and was it their SD card reader devices. They just make playing the Dreamcast so much more enjoyable because it speeds up load time. You don't have to worry about purchasing expensive discs that are almost certain to fail. Oh, what happened to Kuroheim? Okay. That's the one thing about Dreamcast games that's always been sort of disappointing is... Let's see if we can... Where's the pipe? Where's the pipe? Where's the pipe? Oh, shoot. There we go. The game discs are a bit flimsy, and because of that, they're prone to failure. They're prone to disc rot. You know, there's nothing you can really do about that. But there are quite a few great sites like pleasuredome.uk that have pure rips of all the games. And if you get yourself a USB GD-ROM, you can play true rips of these games, and they just, I don't know, they play so nicely. It's really kind of hard to describe. Okay, where did Kuro go? If you watch some of my earlier videos, you'll notice that there was a lot of frame rate dropping in some of the more high action areas. Also, you'll probably notice that the load times in between scenes was a lot longer as well. That's been dramatically improved by using the USB GD-ROM. And the USB GD-ROM too, the one advantage that I would give it over the GD-EMU. Now the GD-EMU is a fantastic device as well. I don't own one, but I have done my research, and I do own the USB GD-ROM, so I can speak for that 100%. But the USB GD-ROM doesn't have the prettiest interface. As you see me load up these games, you'll notice that it looks like I'm going into some sort of BIOS type OS, which is fine because really it's just information. It's just, okay, this is your game title, you know, you name all your games properly, you're not going to have an issue. But I do kind of like Dreamshell, how it's got that graphic user interface, which is sort of nice, and the GD-EMU has that as well, which makes it a bit more prettier to use. But beyond that, there really wasn't too much of a dramatic difference. Now, the one thing that I will say about the USB GD-ROM that at the moment is much more, it gives it a slight edge, is the fact that it's easier to find USB sticks that have a higher capacity of memory than it is to find SD cards for that same amount of memory. Now, what I mean by that is that, like, to the best of my knowledge, they don't make currently 256 gigabyte SD cards. Now they do make 256 gigabyte SD cards, which is what I own, which is great because you can fit pretty much all of the good games. Well, you can fit all of the good games from North America or PAL or what have you onto one stick and play them. Can't quite fit the entire NTSU catalog on there, but you can fit quite a bit. But that being said, this console isn't like any other console, or is like every other console, where it does have quite a few good games, but there are a couple of games that are just not even worth having. Like, there's no point in having Spirit of Speed, that's a terrible racer, but I do have it on disc just to have it as part of my collection. But in terms of playing it, I don't need it on my USB GD-ROM. I'll never play it, but I do appreciate having the disc just to say that I do, right? So anyways, that's really all I have to say about that. Oh shoot, let's use item here. Okay, we should probably sell that. Man, we got a lot of stuff in here we gotta get rid of. Okay, let's use that. Item, evade material. Why do we got so much crappy weapons? Jeez, okay. Well, Maybe we'll dip back to Pioneer at some point and we'll unload some stuff. All right. So yes, what I'm saying is what you've picked up or what you are planning on picking up is definitely a great way to sort of enter the system. Like, I mean, you'll be able to play any game you want depending on whether you, like, regardless of whether or not you get a USB GD-ROM or a GD-EMU. But you know, if you do run across the hard copy games and you are a collector and you want to do that, sometimes I find it's nice because there's no rush. You know, like eventually I'll find these games at a reasonable price somewhere, and sometimes you just never know. Like, I'm surprised at how many times in the last, I think, 2 years, I found 3 copies of Grandia 2 and 2 copies of Shenmue at thrift stores for $5 each. 5 Canadian dollars. So very cheap when you consider the price of those games. But you know, there's really no plan there. It's not like I'm going to go to a thrift store and be like, okay, today's the day I'm going to pick up a cheap copy of Shenmue. It was just the luck of the draw. And who knows, you might go there one day and find yourself a cheap copy of, you know, Skies of Arcadia, Cannon Spike maybe. You just never know, right? So stay on the hunt, find those games you want, and in the meantime, enjoy your USB GD-ROM. Oh, I guess we don't need that. Okay, let's get rid of our grinders. Drop. 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 Okay, we got rid of all this. Oh no! Alright, and I missed my opportunity to do that. Oh well, too bad. I could have donated, I suppose. Or maybe I did donate, because it looks like my PB has gone down quite a bit. Okay, give me 1 second. Just gotta quickly take care of something, and I will be right back. BRB. Alright guys, enjoy the game. I just gotta quickly go somewhere. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Had a slight delay. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I tell ya, okay. It looks like everybody's taken a bit of you've gotten just a smidgen further than I have. Okay, so it appears as though I must have died at some point because there's my weapon. So let's equip that. And do I have my cash? No, my set is gone. So you're a really bad RPG player. Okay. Your lunch money was stolen. Okay, I missed all of that. Item back. Item. Where were we? Gotta be careful. Okay, well. It is what it is, guys. Okay, so log window. They're nasty players who will steal your lunch money. Yes, this is true. I asked a friend for that S-rank shot. Oh, okay, so there must have been... I'm assuming that I died. I'm assuming I lost all my stuff. They must have gathered it and brought it towards me. Okay. We'll find out after the stream is done. Okay, let's do this and see what happens. So we're generally pretty good against this guy. Typically an easy boss to beat, but you just never know. So I think there's some cheap insta-death kills that happen as well. Ah, shoot. I wanted to donate. Ah, well. C'est la vie. So I have been leafing through my Versus guide lately, and gotta admit, it's got some really cool stuff in it. Although the one interesting thing about how it's written is that... fuck, insta-kill. God damn it. The one thing about how it's written is... it's all written from like a very... like it's a first-person perspective, okay, fair enough, but it's also got a lot of opinions on the game as well, which I didn't really anticipate when I was going to be getting one of these guys. I didn't expect to have personal sort of feelings towards weapons or characters or what have you. I thought it was going to be very matter-of-fact, point-based or fact-based guide, but it's not. And that's a little refreshing, but at the same time, I do struggle with taking it as seriously as possibly I should because of that. So, you know, it's maybe it was just one of those things where at the time they were trying to do something different, or maybe it was just one of those things where like they were trying to compete with Prima, and because they were trying to compete with Prima, they're trying to do something unique with their guide. Ah, and I used the wrong... sorry, that was an accident. Sorry, that was an accident. And Brady Games at the time, so maybe they thought they would be the guide that kind of tells you how it is, for lack of a better term. Okay, now this sucks because I don't remember all these cheap insta-death kills. Okay, KY still around. Don't remember KY, but it must be referring to a player that's kind of retired from the game. Necro got in touch with me on YouTube. They are going to be jumping in again soon. Oh, there we go. There, DC. Oh, okay. Let's let this thing load up. Let the little full motion video And we'll talk with these guys when we're done. Necros DC blew up. Okay, why am I hitting for nothing? There we go. I think it's because nobody was applying any tech on me, but it appears a bit better now. There we go, beautiful. Okay, cool, so we got the XP from that. No word on when they are coming back, though. Yeah, Necro we used to play with about a year ago. And they were a really fun player to play with. Did they lose their character data? Well, I guess I should probably pick up that fucking Meseta, seeing as all my other Meseta got pinched. Okay, just Dimates. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's use some of this stuff that we picked up. And let's feed our mag while we're here. I know that Kuroheim is kind of frustrated that I'm starting off this mag from level 0, but there's not much I can do about it. Okay, let's go back to Pioneer. I think we're done here. Okay, now let's go to the... I guess we don't need to go to the Techer, but let's jet back to the weapons store and unload some of this garbage that we've got. And free up a little bit of space. Because I was unaware. Oh, look at that. I've got like nothing. Oh, wow, that's a pretty serious rifle. What does it do? Okay. We'll boost that up at some point. A government certified scientist created this high performance rifle based on... Okay, so what's it attack? It's actually pretty decent. Cool. Well, we're not going to sell it, that's for sure. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep that. Let's get some of these other things out of here. We never really use Soul Atomizer. Don't really need those grinders. Let's throw them. Let's throw that extra weapon in the bank for now. We'll use it next time we play. And deposit item. And we'll give ourselves enough space for next time we jump on. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. We'll keep the Yasminkov. You know, we don't really need the Heaven Punisher right now. Actually, you know what we'll do is we'll take the Android rifle and let's boost it up with some of those grinders that we have, because we probably can do that. So let's item, equip, Android rifle, and item, use. Cool. There we go. That's much better than just selling them and sort of wasting them that way. Okay, so let's see if we have any more grinders in the bank too, and then what we'll do is we'll just load this up as much as possible. There we go. That'll free up some space. Cool. Okay, let's see how high we can... Let's see how high we can do this. So item, mono grinder, use, die grinder, use, tri grinder, use, tri grinder, use. Cool. Okay, sweet. So that is pretty cool. Okay, so we've got a little bit more space left in our inventory. Plus, we boosted everything up here. And hey, power materials, sweet. Item, item. Power. Okay, cool. I remember that you guys would just practice tech at each other for the entire game. Yeah, that was kind of funny when Kuro was trying to teach Necro how to do certain moves and it was just kind of walking him through it. It was kind of funny. How hard it is to learn to be a good FO. Just be mindful of others. Oh, fair enough. Alright, well, I'm not sure what their plan is next. I know that Kuroheim was waiting for some other people to jump in to play a quest, so I'm not sure if their plan is to just hang out a little bit longer, but maybe we'll see who's back in the lobby. Okay guys, good game, catch you later. Alright, let's go back to Pioneer, see what's going on there. Although I don't think we're going to see too many more players tonight, but it'll give us a good time to save our character anyways. Okay, so we've got this one character that's level 18. Looks like they're waiting for a crew. Alright, so in the meantime, oh, they're going to start a team. Good enough. Okay, well, you know what? Let's take this opportunity to quit the game, disconnect, and save everything legit. Alright, cool. So, that was Phantasy Star Online for tonight. Sorry about that. I realized that I forgot to put it into the proper gaming screen, but you probably missed some things in the chat, although the chat was a little bit quiet for a while, but yeah, that was my mistake. But while we're waiting around here, I just want to show you guys a couple other things that I picked up recently that was kind of cool. Now again, not a lot of gaming related stuff, but just some odds and ends. Now this is I don't know what this is, to be quite honest. I got it just kind of in a box of random odds and ends. Now it's not an officially licensed Nintendo product, but it's some sort of Legend of Zelda, I don't know, pinball style game. It says made in China on the back, so clearly it's not endorsed by anybody. Oh, let's put that in the proper frame here. But it's very bizarre. I couldn't find anything about it online. I don't know if it was like a special prize that you mailed away for or something, so I'm gonna do a bit more research. Found a fucking guitar tuner on the road walking back from the bus in box. So, you know, it is what it is. It's an Arian stage tuner, complete in box. Also picked this recently up at a thrift store. It's heavily cleaned up. I disassembled everything. I took it all apart. I cleaned it up nicely. Used some metal polish, but it's a vintage Horner harmonica actually. And I've always kind of been interested in picking it up. And these things go for about 400 bucks, and I found it for $2. So that was a good little find. Recently picked up a couple of graphic novels. So here's the complete collection of Deadpool, which I've been leafing through, and it's entertaining. I mean, I think the character for me is a little bit too juvenile, but you know, it is what it is. This was an interesting find, actually. This is the Nelvana story. Now, Nelvana is an animation company that you might remember if you're an old man like me, who did a lot of cartoons back in the day. And this is just kind of the story of their company with a lot of different sketches and stuff like that. So, pretty cool. I'm not really going to go through all these because they're all just movies and stuff, but I will show you the one video game I did find. And I've been looking for a copy of this because I heard it's pretty good, but that's Draken, and that's for the PS2. From what I understand, it's a fairly decent game, so I was kind of happy to find that. And you know, my PS2 playing is not the best, but you know, I like to have these games in the event that, hey, maybe one day I'll have a job where I'm isolated in the middle of nowhere and I've got a lot of time to myself and I gotta keep busy, and I'll grind out all these RPGs. You never know, right? But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, it's fun playing these streams, and I really hope that next week I'm able to join and we can start from level 1 and play with a couple of people from the Dreamcast Junkyard. That'd be kind of nice, just to check that out. So in the meantime, everybody have a great week. If I don't see you, I'm probably going to jump on a little bit more this week, only because my availability is a little bit more flexible. As I was mentioned, last couple of weeks have been kind of busy, which is why there's about 5 or 6 days in between streams. But let's try and hop in on Wednesday, because I'm going to be free that night, and yeah, see if we can have some fun with the game other than Phantasy Star Online. As much as I love this game, it's kind of nice to spice it up a little bit. And there's a lot of new games that have come online recently which I'd like to try out, so we'll give them a shot. In the meantime, guys, have fun, take care, play safe, and we'll catch you later.